As a flight attendant with 15 years of experience, I've personally witnessed the confusion around new airline policies, and I've seen wonderful seniors denied boarding simply because they didn't know what documentation to bring or what questions to expect. But here's the good news. Age alone is not a reason to deny boarding. Today, I'm sharing 7 critical things you need to know about flying after 70 in 2026, including exactly what triggers these assessments, your legal rights, and how to protect yourself before you even get to the airport. Let's dive in. The medical certificate confusion. Okay, let's start with the biggest source of panic. Medical certificates. You've probably heard that airlines are now requiring doctor's notes for passengers over 70. Here's the truth. It's way more nuanced than that. In my 15 years flying, I can tell you that no major U.S. airline has a blanket policy requiring medical clearance based solely on age. However, and this is important, what has changed in 2026 are the specific conditions that trigger a medical certificate requirement, and these conditions are more common in older adults. Here's what's really happening. Airlines now require a fitness to travel certificate if you have certain recent medical events. These include surgery within the past 2 weeks, hospitalization for heart or respiratory issues within the past month, or if you're traveling within 7 days of giving birth. Some international carriers have expanded this to include anyone traveling with supplemental oxygen or certain mobility limitations. I once had a lovely 73-year-old passenger named Dorothy who was denied boarding because she'd had knee replacement surgery 10 days earlier. She had no idea she needed medical clearance. She was devastated, and we had to rebook her for 3 weeks later. That $1,200 ticket became a nightmare. Here's what most people don't know. Each airline defines fitness to travel differently. Some require a MEDIF form, medical information form, for any passenger who appears to need special assistance regardless of age. Others have specific checklists. What you need to do? If you're over 70 and you've had any medical procedure, hospitalization, or new diagnosis in the past 30 days, call your airline directly. Don't rely on their website. Ask specifically, do I need medical clearance for my flight? Get it in writing via email. Then get a letter from your doctor on official letterhead stating you're fit to fly and capable of traveling without medical assistance. Keep this with your boarding pass. The airlines aren't trying to discriminate by age. They're trying to avoid medical emergencies at 35,000 feet. But the burden is on you to know the rules before you arrive at the gate. The mobility assessment reality. Now let's talk about what happens when you actually arrive at the gate, because this is where I see the most denials, and it breaks my heart every time. Gate agents are now trained to conduct what's called a visual mobility assessment. Let me break this down. They're watching to see if you can walk to your seat unassisted, stow your own carry-on, and follow safety instructions. Here's the thing. They're not being nosy or discriminatory. We flight attendants are not medically trained to provide extensive physical assistance, and FAA regulations actually limit what we can do. What triggers concern? If you're using a walker and appear unsteady, if you seem confused or disoriented, if you need help standing up from the gate seating, or if a family member is doing all the talking for you. These are red flags that might indicate you need a traveling companion. I've seen gate agents ask passengers to demonstrate they can walk to the aircraft door. I know it feels humiliating, but here's the insider truth. They're protecting you and the airline from liability. If you can't evacuate in an emergency, you legally cannot sit in an exit row. And if you need substantial assistance, the airline must ensure you have a companion. Here's what we're really looking for. Can you understand and respond to emergency instructions? Can you physically move from your seat to an exit if needed? Can you manage your own seatbelt and oxygen mask? If the answer is no to any of these, you'll need to travel with a companion or possibly be denied boarding. Your protection strategy. If you use a mobility aid, bring it. Don't try to hide limitations. It'll backfire. Instead, Arrive early and proactively speak with the gate agent. Say, I use a cane, but I can walk independently and manage my luggage. I don't need assistance. This shows you understand the requirements and can self-assess honestly. The oxygen and medical equipment rules. This is huge for 2026, and it's catching so many seniors completely off guard. The FAA has updated regulations around portable oxygen concentrators and other medical devices, and if you don't follow the new rules, you will be denied boarding. No exceptions. Here's what changed. As of January 2026, all POCs, portable oxygen concentrators, must now be approved at least 48 hours before your flight. You can't just show up with your device anymore. The airline needs to verify it's FAA approved, that the battery will last 150% of your flight duration, including delays, and that you have the medical documentation to use it. I had a passenger last month, a 76-year-old gentleman traveling to see his new granddaughter, who had been using his POC for years. He didn't know about the 48-hour notice rule. We had to deny him boarding, and he missed meeting his grandbaby for another week while he sorted out the paperwork. It was heartbreaking. Here's the insider secret airlines don't advertise. Not all POCs are approved for all airlines. There's a specific list of FAA-approved devices, and just because your doctor prescribed it doesn't mean we can allow it on board. You must check your specific device model against your airline's approved list. Additionally, CPAP machines and nebulizers now require advance notice on most carriers. If you use any medical device that plugs in or has a battery, you need to notify the airline when you book, not at the gate. What about regular prescriptions? You're allowed to carry medication in your carry-on without limits on quantity for personal use. But here's my tip. Bring them in original prescription bottles with your name clearly visible. I've seen TSA and gate agents question passengers with pill organizers, especially seniors, because they want to verify the medications are legitimate. Action step. If you use any medical equipment, call your airline's special assistance line at least 72 hours before travel. Get confirmation in writing. Carry backup documentation from your doctor. And for oxygen specifically, bring proof that your device is FAA approved and battery life specs. The fit to fly determination. Let's talk about the scariest part. When a gate agent questions whether you're fit to fly and has the power to deny you boarding. Yes, this really happens, and yes, they have the legal authority to do it. In my 15 years, I've seen this determination made based on a few key factors. Airlines are looking for signs of recent intoxication. Yes, even in seniors, airport bar mimosas count. Disorientation or confusion that could indicate a medical issue, inability to communicate or understand instructions, or visible signs of contagious illness. Here's what most people don't realize. Gate agents and flight attendants have something called captain's authority by proxy. If we genuinely believe a passenger poses a risk to themselves or others, we can deny boarding. And here's the controversial part. That determination is subjective. I once witnessed an 82-year-old woman denied boarding because she seemed confused about where she was going. Turns out she had early-stage dementia that her daughter hadn't disclosed. The gate agent asked her destination, and she couldn't remember. It wasn't about age. It was about safety. If she couldn't remember where she was going, how would she navigate a connection or know when to deplane? But I've also seen questionable calls. A colleague once told me about a perfectly capable 75-year-old denied boarding because she was traveling alone internationally, and the agent thought she seemed frail. That passenger successfully complained and received compensation because age and appearance alone aren't valid reasons. Know your rights. Airlines must provide a specific, documented reason for denial that relates to safety, not age discrimination. If you're denied, immediately ask, what specific safety concern prevents me from flying? Request to speak with a supervisor. Ask for the denial reason in writing. If you're traveling with cognitive changes like early dementia, here's my honest advice. Travel with a companion and carry a letter from your doctor explaining your condition and confirming you're safe to fly with assistance. Don't try to hide it. Transparency protects you. International travel age restrictions. Now, here's something that is real and often surprises people. Some countries do have age-related entry restrictions, especially regarding travel insurance and medical requirements. Several countries now require proof of travel insurance with medical coverage for visitors over 70. I'm talking about places like Thailand, Indonesia, and some European nations. If you're over 70 and you show up without the required insurance documentation, you can be denied entry at customs, not by the airline, but by the destination country. Some countries also require senior travelers to show proof of return tickets and sufficient funds based on the assumption that older travelers might be more likely to overstay for medical care. I know it feels discriminatory, but these are sovereign nation policies, not airline rules. Here's what we see frequently. Cruise passengers who fly internationally to meet their ship often miss these requirements. They clear the flight fine but get stopped at customs, miss their cruise, and lose thousands of dollars. What you need to know. Before booking any international flight, if you're over 70, check the destination country's entry requirements specifically for senior travelers. The U.S. State Department website lists these, but they're often buried. Better yet, contact the embassy of your destination country. For Europe, if you're visiting Schengen countries, some nations require proof of travel health insurance with minimum €30,000 coverage for travelers over 70. For Asia, requirements vary wildly. Japan has no age restrictions, but China requires additional health declarations for seniors. My insider tip: purchase travel insurance that includes a fit-to-fly certificate service. Some premium policies now include a 24-hour doctor hotline that can provide necessary documentation if questions arise. It costs more upfront, but can save your entire trip. Your rights and how to protect them. All right, let's get empowering. You deserve to know exactly how to protect yourself from wrongful denial and what documentation gives you the strongest position. First, understand this. The Air Carrier Access Act prohibits discrimination based on disability, and age-based discrimination is illegal under federal law. However, and this is critical, airlines can deny boarding for legitimate safety reasons that happen to be more common in older adults. The line is thin, but it exists. Here's your protection checklist. I want you to save this or write it down before you book 2 to 3 weeks out. If you have any medical conditions, get a fit-to-fly letter from your doctor on official letterhead. If you use medical equipment, notify the airline's special assistance desk and get written confirmation. Purchase travel insurance that covers trip cancellation due to medical denial. Check your destination country's entry requirements for seniors 1 week before travel. Confirm your special assistance requests were logged in your reservation. Print all medical documentation and confirmation emails. Pack medications in original bottles with prescriptions visible. If you have dietary restrictions, confirm your meal requests. Day of travel. Arrive at the airport 3 hours early for domestic, 4 for international. Bring all documentation in a clearly labeled folder. Dress in clothing that allows you to move comfortably and demonstrates mobility. If traveling with someone, make sure they don't over-help you in front of gate agents. Let them see you're independent at the gate. Don't volunteer medical information unnecessarily, but don't hide legitimate limitations. If questioned, remain calm and provide documentation. If denied, ask for the specific reason in writing and request a supervisor. Request alternative flights and ask about compensation. Here's something flight attendants know that passengers don't. If you're proactive and documented, you're 90% less likely to face issues. The denials we see are almost always passengers who had red flags and no documentation to address concerns. Think of documentation as your insurance policy. You hope you never need it, but when you do, it's everything. What to do if you're denied boarding. Despite your best preparation, what if you or a loved one is denied boarding? Here's your immediate action plan, because time is critical. Step 1. Stay calm and document. Everything I know, it's easier said than done, but getting emotional escalates the situation. Instead, take out your phone and start documenting. Note the time, the gate agent's name on their badge, and ask them to state the specific reason for denial. Many airports allow recording in public areas. Check your local laws, but at minimum, take written notes. Step 2. Request supervisor involvement. Immediately say these exact words. I'd like to speak with your supervisor about this decision. Don't argue with the gate agent. They're following protocol. Supervisors often have more discretion and experience with edge cases. Step 3. Present your documentation. This is when that folder I told you to prepare becomes crucial. Show your medical clearance letter, your special assistance confirmations, any evidence that you meet travel requirements. Be organized and clear. Step 4. Request alternative solutions. If the concern is legitimate, maybe you do need assistance, ask, what would make me eligible to fly? Can I travel if I have a companion? Sometimes airlines will allow you to purchase an additional seat for a helper or rebook you on a flight with medical personnel available. Step 5. Get everything in writing. Before leaving the gate, insist on written documentation of the reason for denial, the name and employee number of the decision maker, what steps you can take to become eligible, and your rebooking options. This is crucial for compensation claims later. Step 6. File a formal complaint within 24 hours. File a complaint with the airline's Customer Relations Department, the Department of Transportation's Aviation Consumer Protection Division, and document everything for potential legal action if discrimination occurred. My honest take, most denials have legitimate safety roots, but wrongful age discrimination does happen. Documentation is your strongest weapon for fighting back. So here's what I want you to remember. Flying after 70 in 2026 comes with new hoops to jump through, yes, but age alone is absolutely not a barrier to travel. The seniors I see denied boarding are almost always those who didn't prepare properly or who genuinely had safety concerns that needed addressing. You've earned your adventures. You've earned those visits with grandchildren, those dream vacations, those trips to see old friends. Don't let fear of new regulations stop you. Let them motivate you to prepare better. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe to the channel for more insider travel tips. And let me know in the comments. Have you experienced any age-related issues while traveling? I'd love to hear your stories. Next week, I'm sharing the secrets airlines don't want you to know about senior discounts and upgrades. You won't want to miss it. Safe travels, everyone!